We are back in the Weird
West. Isn't he still the cat?
He was slightly possessed and went off to do his own thing last we saw him.
He has been possessed by the bottle.
As our dear town drunk is the wizard with no pants is not going to be with us tonight.
Does that mean he owes us 10 XP?
Yes, you each get to subtract 10 XP off his character sheet and absorb it onto yours. Or the only thing I can say is, since he's now possessed by the evil, what can happen to the town next? As I totally run across the house to get a drink.
You can walk, or we'll let you.
So, it's been a day or two since we played last. Who remembers what going down at the tea house?
If I remember correctly, we were having, tea, and then Enoch went over to talk to the ladies, the widows, and then at one point, the preacher was eyeballing us through the window.
I love how he hates that guy.
Well, he especially don't like me, and I know it. So then we, myself and Joe go follow him, and if I recall correctly, I got some really nice rolls, and we overheard something about, and I think you put it in the chat. Hold on. Sons of the Morning Star. I can't remember what else we overheard. I just something about I can't remember. How about you?
That's all I remember. And actually, it was you and me that went.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
No,
because I thought you were serving tea. But okay.
It just goes to show right after y'all went for drinks, and there's some holes in your memory. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, we completed that whole scene.
I think it was after the, and then we head back to the tea house. Oh, didn't we ask the widows about the Sons of the Morning Star? Or we were talking about it amongst ourselves.
You actually knew it with your Arcana check that you knew that the Sons of the Morning Star are basically demon worshippers that pretend to be anything but, so they can do extra demon worshipy stuff. And of course, you witnessed the hand sign.
Oh yeah, the secret handshake or whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as much as I remember. And then I think we were heading back to Mr. Potts' place.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you remembered.
Well.
Yeah, that's
for the most part. Yeah.
I remember I did an outstanding tea service, but
Yes, they were most impressed. And I remember that my stealth roll was really good or something.
You guys were totally ninja.
Ninja vanish. But didn't they see me afterwards or something?
They did, but that was afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your guys' plan now that, it's you guys went home, you slept for the night, it's the next day at the bar. These two old coots have been drinking all through the night without you guys there.
But that's normal.
Par for the course.
So what is your all plan?
Yeah. So obviously download the info to everybody.
I was gonna say, but there's no computers in this game.
But we didn't hear
Verbally.
when they were meeting up or anything. We just heard the name of the group, right?
Yep.
Well, sounds like it might be a excursion to the chapel.
Yeah. What day of the week is it?
It is currently a Wednesday now.
Okay, so it's not Sunday.
And how much time do we have until the ladies do their ritual thing?
They will probably be doing it tonight or tomorrow. Depends on if anybody wants to do that whole when would they do their thing.
Is that the technical term?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, does somebody want to do a lore or an arcana?
Let's see. Let's see who's got the best.
Arcana's not my thing.
1 yellow and 2 green.
I'm a diviner.
I actually have 2 yellow and a green for Arcana, and for lore, I don't appear to.
Would this fall under supernatural?
A lore supernatural would work.
Okay, that's 3 yellow and a green.
Now I don't know none of this lore or Arcana.
Yeah, I don't see.
But
lore.
can I know what's going on because I'm so cool?
Do you have a skill that would reflect that coolness in a mechanical sort of way?
I have cool.
He's just cool, man.
I think I'm probably high with 3 yellow and a green.
Oh yeah, he's got the best so far. I've got 2 yellow and a green. So, way to go, Joe.
Your thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
go
and
ahead
can
and
you
make
reset
your
the story pool?
roll. Already have. You should see 4-player, 1 GM.
Oh, hold
Yep.
on, let me resync.
Oh, I needed to sync.
Yeah, I need to sync. No, it still isn't. How many am I supposed to see?
Well, now 3 and 2.
Okay,
Somebody
perfect.
just
then.
rolled one. Yeah, let me give that back to you.
Okay.
No.
Oh. You rolled it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
You really
You're
want
gonna
to
make
make
this
sure.
roll. It's kind of important.
Okay, so I've got that in there.
Ready?
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, so you're pretty damn sure that it's not tonight, but tomorrow night is when they would do something if they're doing something occultish. If they go up there tonight, it would probably be for just either to set stuff up, hide stuff, that type of thing.
Or socialize.
Or to socialize, yeah.
All right.
So you can clearly clue in your colleagues here as you come sweeping up and answer address the question that if they're going to do anything for presentation of power, so to speak, the ladies of the Widows Association will probably not do anything active tonight. So if they do go up there, it would be just to do something else. I mean, they totally could go up there for a non-power meeting, but they wouldn't be doing a ritual.
What's the actual date? Ish.
It's the 14th of June in the summer of 18 87.
So do we have an idea of, like, the preacher man's, like, general activities typically during a weekday?
During the weekday, he usually goes around doing good works and going over to sick and ailing people and praying, for their healing and immense, recovery from their woes and the
Bullshit
birth of their cattle and the wetness of their wells.
So typically out and about from the church.
Yep, he would technically, from what you've seen of him, not be in the church in a day like today.
Okay.
He would be out from sunup to sundown, and then at sundown he would probably be having a late night congregation.
Scorpio will be highest in the sky in 2 days. So the widows would have the most power.
He's dropping that hardcore lore on you guys.
All right. So what's your thoughts of taking a gander?
Breaking into the church?
It's a church. I'm sure it's not locked up.
Technically, you can't break into a church. It's always open.
He may have an office.
About churches.
Now, there might be some areas that we help ourselves into, but,
Well, that wouldn't be breaking into the church. That would be breaking into an office.
Well, he might have something hidden there, I'm sure.
Well, yes, but if anybody asks, did we break into the church? The answer will always be no.
All right.
That fact saved myself a lot of whoopings when I was younger.
Well, boss.
Very interesting.
What's your thoughts, sir, boss?
I like how you're falling into step behind your nefarious boss.
I don't think Enoch's nefarious.
Nefarious.
He's got a handlebar mustache. Of course he's nefarious.
Extremely... He's very congenial. Gregarious, one would say.
Even good with the people and the widows, especially.
Right? And he keeps me housed and fed, so,
He can't be all
he's
that.
the boss.
And he keeps the town plied with alcohol. He's a good man. He just may be stepped away from his phone.
Apparently.
I was going to say, and he hasn't gotten back in the
That
time
or he's on mute.
He's really intently cleaning and not paying, and lost in thought.
He is rubbing that rag into that beer mug so intent, looking at his mighty fine stash's reflection.
All right, there we go.
There he is.
Welcome back.
I've got a new headphone and a headset, and I am apparently not capable of understanding how to use it. So Enoch has no real experience with the supernatural. He's about the most mundane of the lot of y'all. So if you think that there's nothing going on up there until tomorrow, then we should probably spend today doing recon on either the location or the person, right? Or the priest.
I mean, yeah, being that he's obviously now identified as, evil.
Yeah.
Well, who's identified him as evil? He just belongs to an organization of people who occasionally deal with the darker side of the church.
Occasionally, that is their bread and butter.
Are we talking about the Satanists or the church?
But we could do something like we can
There's a difference between being the devil's advocate and the devil's lot boy.
True. If we go in and we find, let's say they have weapons somewhere in his office that we'd mentioned, we can switch out their firing pins.
Ah.
Ooh.
I mean, they'll still show up there and they'll still make an idiot of themselves making noise, but...
I like the way you think, Enoch.
I like setting people up for failure when I don't like them.
I definitely like the way you think.
Such devious thoughts. I would never have come up with that idea. Because I have no cunning.
Okay, so I guess we're going over to sort of inspect the church. Look for, things that would be considered out of place in a house of the Lord.
Does the preacher live at the church, or does he have his own place?
He does live on site.
Okay. I say we split up into two groups. The people that are more stealthy can do more of the investigating, and the people that are more loud and gregarious can be more of a distraction.
I think I fall into the stealth category.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me double check. Well, actually, my stealth is only 3 green.
I mean, that's
think
above
you and I
average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I were both the
Stealthiest of the...
Yeah, let me look. I forget what mine was, but I remember I made like a really good stealth roll last time, so. Stealth. Yeah, I'm 4 green in stealth.
Yeah. You're the best. I think I'm like the next one after you.
I'm in the non-stealthy group.
Yeah, same.
Now, don't expect me to be like, breaking into something or anything, because I don't have that skill whatsoever.
That would be a skullduggery?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I only got 2 in skullduggery. I'm more of a kick the door down kind of gal.
Yeah, better than a 1.
She's totally like shoot the lock. That's how we get past it.
Yeah. Hey, it's the key that always fits.
It's not Star Wars where you just shoot the lock and it unlocks. Unfortunately.
It isn't?
Are you sure?
All right, let's wander casually to the church.
Yeah, let's head on.
So just to make sure, I'm getting this here correctly, about what time of day are you guys going?
I'm so if he's out and about during the day, I would aim for us to be there while he's out and about, and the stealth group goes in and tries to do what they can, and the loud group stays kind of in front, and just as though we're hanging out, normal business.
As you do.
It's a church.
Yeah.
You know what you usually do when you go to a church?
Feel bad.
Go sit in the pews. That too. You can go sit in the pews.
Make sure I have a penny for the candles.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so you guys are like all 4 of you saddling up and heading that general direction?
Yeah.
Probably walk it, right? I mean, it's down.
It's right down the street. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
I think,
less than a football field, the whole town. So
yeah,
So-
I think we would just perambulate, mosey on over.
Okay. Yeah, see, I would have said mosey, not saddle up, but I thought we were getting on horses. I'm like, really? Are we that lazy?
Yes.
As I've cleverly used this stalling time to create a map for church.
Ooh, seamless loading screen.
As you guys are making the walk down the church, of course, you know, some of the local respectable ladies, that's this little group there, giggle as you guys approach because, you know, some of you, especially Enoch there's got a reputation. Are you guys just acting casual walking into the church, or you want to say something to the ladies?
No, I mean the purpose is to draw attention. So I'll go up and say good afternoon, ladies.
I'll just tip my hat politely.
And of course, the ladies, when you tip your hat and Enoch gives them the good morning, they totally pop their fans out and
I'm just like,
They're good and respectful ladies, but they can imagine the fanciful flights of having a fling with Enoch, right? So you guys come up to the church. You obviously see the door slightly ajar, rather invitingly so. No, by the way, on the map there's not a creepy green glow around everything. That's just the quickest church I could find.
So sure, this is Wyrmwood.
Is anyone going in any particular order?
Before we actually go in, I want to take a look at its aura.
The church's aura?
Go ahead and cast your little spell there. What does it look like when you do your little spell, by the way? That spirit sight again.
This one's real simple. I take a bit of a carrot out of my pouch, and I eat it.
Okay, and give me...
Because, you know, carrots help the eyes.
Okay, especially since apparently it's a special prepared carrot.
So that gives me an extra blue, I think? Let me check. It gives me an extra something that did not transfer over right.
Is it from your talent?
Yeah, component casting.
Let me check. I'm pretty sure that that's like an advantage.
I thought it was an advantage.
What was it called?
Component casting.
It is at tier 1 activated when you cast a spell, and I'm slowly waiting. When you cast a spell, you may add 1 boost dice to the check. So, blue dice.
Oh, blue dice, not advantage. Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead and cast your spell to give you your special sight. As you can totally taste your carrot with paprika.
Paprika? I'm not rich.
And I totally clicked an upgrade there because I'm hoping something freaky deaky happens, but apparently not. So your spectral sight starts to catch in, and you start to see, you know, little spirits floating around. And what do you want for those 3 advantage before I say some more?
Well, you know, I want to know if it's inclined towards good or evil.
Okay.
I want to know if there's any specific. I want to know if there's any specific protection spells on it.
Okay.
I want to know if it will know if we have magic when we go in.
Okay, so I can totally give you that when you look at the building, there is a very sickly green aura around it. There's wisps of light. There is some divine power in this building, probably because the congregation, doing their thing, praying the pray. But the aura of this building has definitely been corrupted, and you have a feeling that if you spend too much time in here, or perhaps join the congregation during a ritual, or more than just a usual sermon, it may leave a mark on you. As you totally see, as you're getting ready to stop everybody and do your carrot, you see someone walking out of the church, and they clearly have a eldritch mark on their forehead as they're walking out with your staff.
Lovely.
I will relay that.
And did you take your 2 strain for casting the spell?
Mm-hmm.
And are you?
I wonder how long the guy was in
now.
there.
And are you going to maintain the spell is the question.
No.
You sure?
When the GM says that, you're like, yeah.
I guess. I will.
So this was the next day, so I'm fresh up, right?
Yep, everybody should be fresh up. Y'all had enough whiskey to straighten yourselves out.
Of course, that ain't showing.
And with your spectral sight, you can see someone has put spirit glyphs around the building. So this building has definitely been unhallowed, so to speak. Or perhaps hallowed for another type of religion.
Right. Hallowed for somebody else. Wow. See? Told ya.
You roll 1 triumph and you hear some key information before way in the story you were ever going to get it. So while you have your spectral sight up, are you guys going to head inside?
Well, my question is how long was that guy in there? I don't want to be marked.
Well, you don't know. You just saw the person come on out.
I would think it would take some time. Not like.
As of course,
well, let me put it this way: we're not going to burn the candles now.
As your spirit sight is totally showing you that one of Hell's pistols is glowing with magic. Your Shaolin friend has this beautiful, pleasant glow around him. It's all that positive chi. And are you guys heading inside?
Yeah. Gotta do it.
Who's going in first, by the way?
I will. There's no reason not to, I think.
No, and then that way people will be looking at you, and then we can kind of
slide
around.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if there's something that's immediately bad, the first couple people can stop, and the other couple people can go around the back of the building.
Yeah, and I'm pretty convinced that Preacher's already been, sending negative vibes up for me as being, different because he caught me. So
being different. So as soon as Enoch comes in, he kind of sees a very pleasant face as one of the local ladies is there with a little donation plate, and she immediately perks up when you guys come in, and she goes, "Howdy, welcome to the House of the Morning Light. We would like you to enjoy a nice sit down and read the good book at the pews." And you see this beautiful silver dais on the floor, this little inlaid work in the floor there. There's a little saucer on each side here of some water that you can use to dip your fingers in the holy water and do the good sign. And she has
hell no.
little barber bowl donation plate, and she's just like, "Hi."
This isn't one of the ladies that we met last session, right?
No. This is one of the local respectable ladies in town. Not none of those crazy.
Not one of those nasty widows.
Yeah.
She's just here helping out the father while he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, there's a small group of people in the church right now. Little pretty lights pouring on in through the windows there. I can reveal a little bit more of the map. We got over here, we got the candle set up. And over here, we got a little memorial to people who've passed away, just to remember your loved ones. There's a door here that you're pretty sure goes to a room, and another door over here that if somebody wants to give me a intelligence roll, since most of y'all were here when this building was being built, I might be able to give you a little more information there.
A which roll?
Intel?
Something with intelligence. So even if it's just your base
How
intelligence.
about, let's see.
You can
Arcana?
I'll take not Arcana, but because it's basically just a building floor plan.
Well, Arcana is my best, other than running. So
Yeah,
hopefully one of you
big
guys.
on intelligence.
Okay, go ahead and give me your roll then.
Me?
Yeah, well, you spoke up, so
Hold it. But any of you guys have a better intel?
I have 2 green.
I have
green.
3 green.
Okay,
but
I have
were you in
knowledge.
town when the church was being built?
I was.
Well, I wasn't here, so.
I don't know. I could have been.
Hey, if you say you are.
When I was a little kid.
Yeah.
After my parents got murdered and I was, sent to, the town.
And apparently your colleagues think so well of you, they're upgrading your role.
All right, well, here goes.
So you clearly remember from back in the day that there's a basement underneath the church here. And obviously this door leads to the down to the basement. You recollect
Remember.
You recollect.
Remember.
I recollectin'.
You're recollecting.
I recollect. I
Now,
reckon.
the important thing is, for our dear friend who's got his spirit sight going, as you all are stepping on in and you're getting told nicely of the welcome to the church, yada yada yada, good spiel. Give me a discipline check as you walk into this church with your spirit sight in full swing.
Ew.
See how I suckered you into that? Oh, look at you giving me some points. I'm liking
See
this.
if you lose your shit.
Your pool is there.
Oh.
So go ahead and take 2 additional strain on top of the strain of keeping your sight going. So that's 3 strain you got going. As all of you guys, he keeps his shit together well. Like really well. You barely twitch unless you want to. But when you look in the middle of the room, all of a sudden your spirit sight is just, all of a sudden kind of assaulted.
Oh dear.
As, you're seeing, unholy symbol on the floor and a, hell mouth waiting to open.
Look at the fancy budget for special effects we have.
So pretty.
Michael Bay, eat your heart out. Everyone else just sees the silver dais on the floor, which looks pretty impressive that they actually put silver inlay in the floor. But you saw that hellgate open, flame bursts. As you're able to keep your shit, you just kind of sweat when you see it, realizing what is real and what is not real. And
it's all real.
He turns a little pale.
The lady that sits here, something definitely seems off and creepy with her. Everybody else just sees a little old lady with a nice veil over her face as she's kind of quietly sobbing. And you see this spirit sight moment of where she Everyone else just saw her glance back at you guys for a half second. And when she glanced back, she kind of like looked at you, and you saw this like ghostly pale face that makes you think of death. And then she goes back to sobbing on her little Bible she's reading. Nothing weird about the two ladies on this side, but something weird about this lady. And of course, you know, the gal here is super happy and chipper to take your donations that go all to the church. And the father's going to be making sure to give some donations to the Widows Association to help those widowed ladies. And she kind of says, "Do you have any donations?" As she's already sticking the plate in your face.
I'll give her the penny.
And she looks at the penny and looks at you and smiles, her polite smile. It seems very genuine.
I mean, I haven't seen
an actual penny is like really expensive.
Yeah, I
ain't giving nothing.
The Hellgate, so I also will give a penny.
As she thanks you and says, "Come in, come in." As many of you may know, our church was built almost 8 years ago. And unfortunately, this house of worship was empty for almost 7 of those years until our father showed up into town to preach the good word.
I'm muttering under my breath. Not much of a good word.
As she smiles at you, Hale, and says, "And in this house of worship, everyone is welcome." And she smiles at you, and you catch like a hint of frown you're muttering as she just waves you all in. If you'd like to light a candle for your loved ones, there's a pillar over here, and she points on yonder where you can light a candle.
Are there any other people that look like they're in charge in this room?
She looks like the only one, and she's super caffeinated and chipper.
Okay. I think it's time to start blathering. Ooh. And so I think that I'm going to do my best to try and just, engage her in conversation to keep the attention on me while other people do things that are more important.
Ooh, I'll give you a blue dice to that. Because she's wanting to talk the talk.
I also like talking as a character, not as an Eric. So, are you ready?
Do it so well.
Okay, so immediately, if you want to take her off to the side so she's a little out of the way and indisposed of, just pick a spot.
Or even just where she's standing, but I'm standing towards the front of the church, so her eyes are looking forward instead of looking back.
As she's like, "Oh, Mr. Enoch, I'm glad you're coming into the church today on this day of all days." And pretty much the rest of you three hear their conversation kind of blend into the background, as apparently Sam is creeping on up. What is Helen and Brian doing?
Well, why is this day special?
As you kind of listen to their conversation, she's just like, "Because I'm here in charge of the church today until the father comes back this evening. He's out doing important good works. This way, I can convince you to come to church this Sunday. My cousin's coming into town," and she gives you the wink wink. "You just need a good Christian woman to help straighten things out for you. Get rid of that faloozin' and those working girls at your facility and have a respectable facility."
And, and of course engage her in that and be like, "Well, like back. Well, you see, I happen to remember back when that tavern was built, and charmingly go off onto boring diatribes about the town history."
And I guess we'll just start heading towards the
There is a closed door right there, by the way. Closed door here and a closed door over here.
Now this is the one that's the creepy.
Yep.
That's the creepy old lady. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Well, just
has Brian shared that information is the question.
don't know there's been much opportunity. But I will casually attempt to see if the door will open.
Are you doing it stealthily?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to go up there and in the middle of this quiet church with the gabbing in the background, go ahead and try to stealthily bump the door.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm getting them like candy today.
Yeah, it was before you. It was before
Okay.
you had a chance. I'd
So
rather not
give me
draw
your
attention.
stealth roll.
All right. Boom.
So you give the door a good check, and you realize it is in fact locked with just a super simple style lock.
Okay, so to open it would be skullduggery.
If you want to pick the lock, athletics if you want to kick the door in.
So who's got the best skullduggery? I only have 2 green.
More than me.
Skullduggery's cunning, so I have 4 green.
So we need to maybe create a distraction for you. You know?
Yeah.
Well, she's tied up, so I mean, you can definitely make your way.
Yeah,
over
like
if you wanted to.
I can just kind of go over there with you guys.
Yeah.
Since I'm already paying the strain, is there anything unusual about the door?
Nope, just a standard typical door.
I'm gonna walk this way to try and get the ladies in the pews, sort of like their focus.
Ooh, give me a.
So the ones in the pews are looking my way to give.
Give me a. That's a good question. What skill are we talking about here? Either a coercion as I peek at your character sheets, or definitely would be a presence kind of thing to get their attention.
Yeah, there's no performance, right?
Yeah, so
no.
give me like a leadership or coercion.
Hold on, I don't
Assuming
see.
you want to go with coercion. It's almost the very, very bottom.
Oh, I'm in the wrong section. Yeah, okay.
And this will be the basic stealth roll for him as you're distracting the crowd.
Well, I'm not a stealth roll, but okay, this is not going to go well.
Well, this is going to allow him to even try to be quiet about it.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
So what would you like for those 2 advantages, by the way?
To give him a blue for the door.
Okay. And if he gets at
or
least
the stealth, whichever one he's doing first.
So if you get 2 advantages, I'll give you that you do it quietly. How about that?
Okay, take both advantages for the.
Well, you're giving him a blue specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought.
So go ahead and give me that skullduggery roll there for Brian to pick that lock, and we want 2 advantages, so that way you do it without anyone hearing anything in this church. Hey,
yeah.
Hey, there we go. We got 2 advantages. Would you like to use those to do it quietly?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you get up there and you whip out your little tool that you're going to use, and you click, click, and the door opens, and it's slightly ajar, but it's open. And
Apparently, I'll think to myself, "Wow, all churches do have the same lock."
and you're maintaining your spell still, right?
Yep.
So don't forget to take another strain. This exhaustion, it's building up. I like it. So you've got the door open. I mean, are you going to signal your compatriots, or what's the plan?
Yeah. I'm going to go through.
Okay. So does anyone else want to do a stealth roll to join him unnoticed? Sam was a great curtain for nobody to see Brian go sneaking in that room.
Yeah, we'll slide right in behind him there.
Sneak, sneak, sneak. Okay, let me get the difficulty there for you. Believe it or not, there's nobody that perceptive really watching right now, and there's a blue dice because Katie and Enoch are being great decoys for you, so go ahead and roll when you're ready. Oh! What would you like for those forward advantages?
Well, let's see. I will give Mr. Potts a blue because he saw us, little relief there as he sees us make our way in.
Wonderful.
And I'll give.
I could use the blue for whatever my next action is, so hopefully I don't die from the strain.
That would be nice, not to die or pass out.
That'll work.
As you slip through and pat him on the back so he feels a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, pat, pat. Okay. So, Brian, you're going to...
So what do we see? Stairwell?
You see stairwell going down into the dark.
Since I have my sight up, I would be able to tell if there's anything living down there.
As far as you can see, you see nothing living.
Okay.
As you totally see this little revealed section here. And so Katie and Enoch are just going to keep playing the decoys?
Yeah,
that sounds fine.
Yeah, and the door was left just ajar, like pushed to, but not closed or locked.
Not actually clicked shut?
No.
Okay. And Sam, go ahead and... Or Brian, I'll let either one of you do it. Give me a vigilance check. As you're walking down these dark stairs,
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure you'd be better at that than I would.
Yeah, let me look here. I'm 3 green.
I'm 2.
All right. Ready?
Yep. Okay. So you don't see anything out of sorts or anything troubling. So you guys heading down the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian's heading down first, right?
Sure.
Okay, so do me a favor and roll me a coordination check. As you come down the last couple stairs, you're feeling good. The creaky stairs seem to be holding your weight. You're seeing a little more sights down here.
Okay, remember I got a blue.
You got a blue? Let me make sure I put that blue in there. Okay.
Oh.
And would you like, and I will totally suggest this, for those 3 advantages for what's about to happen, for it to happen silently, that you don't make a noise, you just keep your stoicism and you grit your teeth together and just take it without making a noise?
Sure.
Okay, so go ahead and suffer 3 wounds as a nail
Ouch.
bops through your shoe.
Ow.
And that bypasses soak, by the way. As this
Okay.
sharp, rusty nail, you're not sure if it was just bad carpentry or if some kind of nifty booby trap, kind of goes right through your foot, and you just look back at Sam and you have this warrior stoicism on your face without making a sound, as you feel the inside of your boot get a little wet, and you kind of pull your foot up with extra emphasis, showing the little rusty square nail sticking right up where your foot was. I'm assuming you're pointing it out to Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Ouchie.
As this room is real dark, but you do notice that hanging pretty close to the entrance is a set of matches and a lamp that you can just barely make out if you want to strike a match in there and light the lamp up.
Well, I want to light something up.
Is Sam going to go do that?
Oh, wait, am I on BT?
Right.
This isn't the death droid you're looking for.
Right.
So you want to hop on down there, Sam, and light up the lantern?
Sure. I'll go.
So as soon as you
Fine.
do, the room is now full of nice bright light. As you light it and put the little thing closed, it lights up the whole area here. And off in the distance, you sound as if you hear dogs fighting up above you guys.
Yeah.
As obviously the basement is not under the church property, but off to the side there.
Yeah. So
like,
there's
okay.
hellhounds in here. Oh, great.
You see no dogs, but you hear the beasts of Satan barking.
Right.
So you see a lot of building materials been stashed down here. There's some containers. There's lots of steamer chests. What exactly are you guys looking for? Nothing is piquing your spirit sight at the moment.
Well, I should actually know what's normally in a church. So is there anything that normally wouldn't be?
Ooh. Since you are used to being in a church, go ahead and I'll make it just an average perception or vigilance. Your choice.
Yeah, I'd have no idea what a Christian church looks like or has.
Okay, I'll take perception.
Okay, as he would totally think. So the hellhounds are normal, right?
Hey!
As Brian shushes you, Sam, and you look around as if you weren't making noise.
Okay, 21.
Go for it. Okay. So you do see down here there is a second little dais set up like you'd see in up above in the church for holding a congregation over against this here wall.
You mean the original one?
It actually is the original one, but it looks like it's in use because there is a book on top of it, leather bound. Very small book though. It's like almost like a pocket-sized, Bible-sized book. As opposed
Is
to
it
the
full
big...
of evil?
It seems normal. It's made of regular paper, some kind of leather that's not... Your spirit sight isn't seeing anything fancy about it.
Okay.
Do you want to get closer and check out the dais? That's the only thing that you think stands out down here.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
follow him over.
So when you go on over there, you realize the dais is pushed a little close to the wall for someone to be behind it standing. But you realize as soon as you give it a wiggle, the dais slides forward as if it's on a track. And as soon as it does, it kind of clicks into place when it would be where you'd want it if you were a person standing behind it talking. And there's a definitive click, and the wall behind it, there's a obviously fake wall behind some tapestry stuff that was hanging off the wall. You kind of hear the click and see that some of the wall moves open, like there's like a secret wall safe or something.
Okay.
And
that's bizarre.
Who's going to be the one to pull the curtain open so you can see inside?
I'll go ahead and do that since you're already hurt. Got my bow staff in hand.
So you use your bow staff to slide the curtain aside, and you can clearly see there's a panel that comes open, and Sam of course thinks, haha, the Shaolin Temple does the same thing to protect the good stuff. And I'm assuming you're using your bow staff to open the door some more.
Sure.
And immediately you see some church-like vestments, but the colors seem off. And there's some squiggly designs that you guys don't quite recognize unless someone wants to give me a Arcana check.
Knowledge supernatural?
I'll take that as well. Oh, damn you and your knowledge supernatural. As immediately you
and I'll take 2 strain back, thank you.
Okay. And are you dropping your sight or are you maintaining it?
Oh, okay, I'll take 1 strain back.
As you see with your sight, the reason why I asked, now that the panel is open, there is a basically an athame in there that not only is the blade look a little stained and rusty in spots, but it has a definite glow of some kind of enchantment on it, thanks to your spectral sight. And its aura's got some black speckles, which is totally telling you that it's been used to take a life before. There's pretty much, you have no doubt that this weapon's been used to murder someone or sacrifice someone.
Lovely.
And with that knowledge roll, you totally identify the strange symbols and marks as the symbols and things used by those who were probably not church-going worshippers, but more of the infernal pact kind, like especially the Sons of the Morning Star.
Right.
How many, is there a bunch of robes, or?
There's just one beautiful set for one person.
Okay. So it's the officiant robes. So it's just a small closet,
Yeah, it's
space.
like a little alcove closet.
Yeah.
And there is a tiny little foot long, or I should say foot wide, about good 6-7 inch little lockbox. Some would almost say pirate chest, but
Pirate booty.
Something with effort someone could pick up under their arm and try to hide it, or perhaps pick the lock.
So do we take this stuff? I mean, it would possibly put a kibosh on their ceremonies.
Remember how Enoch said that the plan was to file the gun pins? Is there any way you could possibly do something that, when he puts it on, something bad will happen to him? Or break the link to the badness? Or possibly make whoever's like running this not like him?
I mean, I could try blessing.
Pour
it.
holy water on that shit.
That's
Because that's not my expertise.
Yeah, not a Shaolin thing either, but that's all right. But I mean, I look at the knife. I mean, I could try to bless it and break the evil on it. What would that look like?
Are we talking the vestments or the blade?
Well, I think the blade's probably the key element here, right? I mean, that's where he saw the most.
Is Brian? Are you sharing with him that you see it glowing and
Yeah.
it's got some magic?
Oh, that's been used for evil sacrifices.
Right. So, I mean, the robes are robes, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the robes are evil priest robes, but they're robes.
Right. So the knife is the...
That's when you totally get that whole
The
blood
knife
of
is the big
centaur
ticket
poison,
item.
and you poison the robes. When he puts them on, he bursts into flames.
Well, I mean, can I take just a whole lot and try to do a blessing on them?
Each thing would have to be blessed independently.
All right. So let's
Especially
start with the blade.
The blade, okay. So you're gonna go ahead and try to deconsecrate the blade of evil, huh?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. I like.
Of course,
this.
you get there before I can.
You're totally gonna use some chi whammy on a sacrificial blade. I like this. Something is gonna happen, regardless.
Yeah, little divine.
Happen.
Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, it's ready. It's ready.
I'm sure it is. All right, here we go. Oh.
Okay, so just a little knot strain. I wonder what those two thread are going off about.
Yeah.
As don't forget to take your true strain for doing your blessing here. And what does that look like for Brian since he's watching? He's totally seeing your kind of magic.
Yeah, I mean, basically hovering or, kind of sit down next to it and got my hands over it and seeing kind of a white, kind of yellowish glow emanate around the blade as I'm chanting in Chinese.
And what does the end that successfully breaks whatever was going on with it away?
And he probably also notices the kanjis on my forearms glow faintly as I do that as well from underneath my robes.
And of course, when you culminate and finish the ritual, Brian sees the blade. It almost seems like it writhes for a second when you do your thing, and then you break the evilness on it. And
it burns.
The blade actually gives out a shrieking sound that, to Sam, you hear nothing other than this ting of the metal as you touched it and the blade reverberated. But Brian sees this blade like writhe from your touch, and then when you finish the ritual, all of a sudden it lets out this deathly shriek that seems to, zoom up the stairs and disappear. And Brian can confirm that there's still something mildly magical about this blade, but whatever it is, you have basically, tamed whatever it is so it's not usable.
This house is clear. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That was wonderful.
Whatever its actual purpose is, it's not usable at the moment. Or it's still just a blade. It's been reverted from something cool to just a knife.
Right. All right. I just kind of glance up at him like, we look good?
It's good.
And now you're going to try to do the same thing to the vestments?
Sure, why not?
Go ahead and roll when you're ready.
Alright, hopefully that one should be a little easier. Alright. And nothing.
As you totally do the praying again, and either the clothes have nothing really going for them other than dirty laundry, and there's probably a joke there, or your power was not strong enough to break the bindings on them. Yeah. Now, of course, the question is, what does Brian say? Because he kind of knew the vestments were just vestments.
Don't think there was any change in them, but okay.
Alright. Well, we've taken out the sacrificial device, so we'll leave them intact as is. Now the question is, the box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Does the box have any evil in it, on it?
Or assemblage, or...
Nothing that you notice. It just looks like a very old 16th century antique little box.
Okay.
Doesn't have any supernatural glow coming for it, and you're not feeling any throb inside it or anything like that.
Okay, let me see if I can open it up.
Okay. Go ahead and make your roll. Okay, so you totally go in there and you fidget with the lock. And, of course, the lock pops open. You take an extra point of strain because there's a strange sound you heard. And just as you open it, that strange sound you hear, there's a quick... And you look at your finger, and there's a single droplet of blood where your finger was up against the lock, picking it.
Have I been poisoned?
Can you give me a resilience check?
We'll find out.
Oops.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'll give you that.
Too late.
What?
Resilience.
What? I think I've heard of that word before. Tell me when you're ready.
It's that dump stat that nobody ever puts points into.
No, it's brawn. I just don't have brawn with this character.
Okay, so I'm totally
Tell me
ready
when you're
then.
ready.
Roll it.
You're good to go. Oh!
So close.
Okay, so first, go ahead and take the 3 strain from those threats.
I guess it's better than something else.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, I have to cut the spell now.
Your vision's getting cloudy, and you're just like, I gotta let that go. As you feel kind of woozy there for a second. As you look over at your buddy there, and I'm assuming you tell him something's wrong.
I'll show him the blood, and do I have the little metal piece thingy?
What metal piece?
I assume something actually poked me.
Yeah, some kind of little needle popped out of a recessed area and then slid back into place.
Oh,
lovely.
Lovely. Lovely.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, so lovely.
Are you okay, my friend?
Maybe?
As he
I
definitely
think
seems
we should get out of here, though.
a little woozy on his feet, you know.
Oh, well, since I got it open, let's see what's inside there, and then we take it and leave.
Yeah, I will go ahead and open it real quick
So as you
using
do
my
pop
bow
it,
staff.
oh, you're touching it with a 6-foot pole. I like that. As you take your bow staff and you kind of reach it open, you clearly see there's some fancy red silk wrapped around something. From just a quick casual glance, you totally notice that there's a fine silver necklace or weaved cable. You can't quite be sure. It's probably at least 6 to 10 inches long from you're seeing it laying in there. And the red handkerchief is covering something large like baseball size inside there. It would have to be moved to find out what it is.
I will move it with my staff.
You'll move it with your staff. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got one, you might as well use it, right?
So as you move it with your staff, as soon as it flips over onto the lid area, you totally see that it is a dry, almost mummified looking human-sized heart. Because, of course, now that it's dehydrated, it's shrunk to like, 2/3 of its normal size. But it looks like a heart that was quite deftly cut out of a body. It's nice clean cut marks on the ventricles, and it's perfectly preserved, but just withered and shrunk down.
Of course it is.
This is what an intelligent vampire would do. If you could only die by getting staked through the heart, just remove your heart. You don't need it anyway.
Yeah, but then he'd be a lich.
Well, no. The problem with that is that means you can no longer see your heart.
And,
there's a reason why there's all of these, like, big, strong chest skeleton bones between your heart and the outside world.
I want to be an undead lich that has his heart as his own familiar.
Alright. So there's much evil going on in this place.
I think that's a tad bit of an understatement.
Now the question is, I don't know if we want to take and fully have our presence or a presence be known, but I mean, obviously they'll identify something with the knife, but that could be because of other means.
And he might get sloppy. He might not actually check it.
What's that, the box?
No, the knife.
Well, he'll grab it to use it and either not sense it or try to use it and not have it do its thing right. But that's what I'm saying. If we take anything, they definitely are going to know somebody's been tampering.
Right.
Yeah, but it's probably got a lot of power to it. I mean, we don't want them to continue using it.
So, potential to make, let's see. Oh, nice. Potential to make like a divine roll to identify what they might be.
Actually, yeah, you could totally do a divine. Are you willing to dabble in the dark side of the divine? And
you can't have light without dark. It's very zen.
And Scott, with your resilience fail, there is the additional poison damage there.
I got it.
So 2 wounds and 2 strain immediately on top of the 3 strain, plus each day when you wake up, you'll take 1 wound and 1 strain. plus 1 additional strain per threat you rolled. So that's basically 4 strain on them when you wake up.
Well, is there any way we can get it fixed? Cure him?
Maybe.
Eat the heart.
I was thinking more of a burn the heart.
Just get a cheese grater
well.
and grate it to some soup, you know. You'll make the soup extra hearty.
You know, I love a good
wizard.
pun. That was pretty bad.
Yep. It was firmly entrenched in the realm of old Western dad jokes. And
Right.
Brian's looking pretty pale. I mean,
I'm sure. I would head out, my friend, and I'll be right behind you.
Good idea.
And actually don't want to use magic on it, but if I could just do a lore, I guess, or I just want to see if I can identify somehow what these things may be.
okay, go for it.
So what, lore?
So, Arcana or Lore?
I don't have. Well, Arcana is magic, right? So I can't use Divine, like, in the same way.
I'll let you use Divine since it's the bad kind of Divine.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what rituals or things have I heard of or identified or what? So, all right, ready?
Yep.
All right.
Wow. Okay, so what would you like for the advantages?
I think I'm going to take my 2 strain back because I'm feeling I might need them.
Okay, as poor Brian is kind of making a slight cough as he's leaving to the stairs. And so you realize that this heart, of course, like I said, was expertly removed from someone. You're pretty sure from your traditional point of view that there's many ancient Chinese rituals where one would take their heart out and put it somewhere safe to create immortality from a certain point of view. Or it could be used, and of course, both of these you're not quite 100% sure because you don't play that game. It's totally the other side.
No, yeah.
That, or it's someone's heart that they want to use it as a anchor to keep a spirit around, like a phylactery kind of thing. Be able to summon the spirit back in a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm.
But with your 2 successes, you're pretty sure it's more the first and not the second.
Does that mean we could? Does that mean we could burn it and like the priest goes bye bye?
Possibly.
Or from as Sam's inner monologue is thinking that you're pretty sure with the 2 successes it would only make him mortal. It wouldn't kill him.
Right.
I'm fine with making his ass mortal. That's for damn sure. Because right now he's not mortal, which means he's technically undead if his heart has been removed, and I don't tolerate that shit. It's a personal pet peeve of mine.
Yep. All right. So as he's heading up, I'm going to pocket the item and close the lid and follow directly behind.
Okay, and do me a favor. As you're doing that, I want 2 things from you. One is going to be
I'm sure you do.
A vigilance check. I've got your difficulty set because it's going to be the same for either or. And the other is going to be a skullduggery for you pocketing that.
All right. So, vigilance. Let me know when you're ready.
Go for it.
All right.
Ooh.
Boom.
Cool. So, as a nonchalant vigilance thing, as you're closing things up and buttoning them back the way they were. Oh, look at that. You notice that I've got your upgrade in there, by the way, that there's a little trail about every 2 feet of a single drop of blood that's off-colored. and it's going right to your friend Brian here. That finger he showed you, you're seeing that it is like perpetually bleeding a drop of blood every couple feet. And the blood looks kind of off. It's got a slight blackish hue to it that's not good dark crimson blood, but more of a nasty putrid blood. And you kind of see him waver when he steps for a second there. Like he is more than just long day's work exhausted. Something is wrong.
Right. All right.
He might be stoic and not tell you, but maybe he stepped on a poisoned nail or he got finger pricked by something.
Yeah.
Either way, he's going to need a tetanus shot.
Exactly. All right. And then my skullduggery, let me know. You said you're ready?
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Let's see. Skullduggery.
And part of that vigilance.
Wow.
Part of that vigilance was to put things back the way you thought they were.
Right.
But apparently that skullduggery is going to jack that up.
Yeah, but
so
one dice. I mean, come on. Look at that.
Wow. That dice fought like a champ for you. So you succeed in hiding the heart on you, and you have a triumph. What would you like the triumph for? We got to figure that out before I can tell you what the threat are, because you might kibosh what my threat idea is with triumph. Triumph does trump threat.
Yes, this is off of a skullduggery.
So it's something sneaky. I mean, you could totally use it to make sure you cleaned up your tracks. That could totally be a thing, because you've pocketed the heart, and it's completely concealed in your wardrobe.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that as I've closed it, I noticed a way to alter the trap so it discharges no matter what.
But you never touched it. You know, you'd have to reset it and not with a bow staff.
Well,
no, when I close the lid, I notice mechanism inside so that it can't be deactivated.
Okay. I'll take that.
So anybody opens, they're going to get stuck.
Okay. So you reset the trap, and you have a slight smirk on one of your sides of your face as you close the door, knowing whoever opens it next will get a surprise.
Right. I mean, come on. I don't have skullduggery. Might as well make something good out of it. Skullduggery-ish.
Okay.
I got this one clever idea that I would never normally have on being mischievous.
While reading Journey to the West, you had this clever idea of what Monkey would do.
Right. So, and then I will catch up to my buddy, and I'm like, yeah, we need to get you taken care of. That doesn't look good. And I'll like grab a piece of cloth or something and wrap it around his finger.
And I'm going to give the first one of you two that does something next a black dice. And for the other 3 threats, unbeknownst to you, but one of your beads falls off.
Of course.
It lands on the floor. And it stops right next to one of those droplets of blood. Ominously off camera as you blow out the lantern, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And one of you guys, I'm sure somebody can assist the other one, but one of you guys give me your stealth roll for sneaking out. As you hear Enoch's voice loudly proclaim something to this beautiful lady. And Katie's talking about hellfire and damnation or something.
I still got 2 greens.
No,
so I think it's you.
I'm going to say, I remember this church looked mighty different last time I was here.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
Now that's just ostentatious, that is.
Okay, so go ahead and make your stealth roll as you come pushing through the door.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
And what would you like for those 4 advantages? I mean, you can totally use it to go from that door here to this door here in the flash of an eye. Time it out the door with your buddy.
Sure.
Okay, as you guys come out and you kind of pull Brian out as he puts his hand on the door and leaves another off-camera, very, very circular fingerprint with blood drop. And you guys sort of hustle across the church, and that door closes very loudly with a very pronounced click. And literally every face, including your friends, is looking at you guys as you guys are hustling towards the door. I mean, you've got a great head start if you don't want to talk and just want to run out the door.
Oh, we're not talking.
Okay. As poor Brian looks like he's going to pass out any second.
Oh, that went so well.
It's been 3 rounds since I had you roll since I rolled that D6 and you made that dagger scream. So, Katie, Enoch, the boys came up from the door and it closed resoundingly, like the gates to hell behind Dante.
Place is more drafty than I recall as well.
What are the other people doing?
They're kind of looking and gawking at the moment. The gal that you're speaking with is about to get into a tizzy. She is totally about to put the plate down on one of these little daises here and start getting into a little tirade, unless you do something.
I'm going to start heading back.
Okay, so Katie's boots are walking real loud on the floor there.
I think I've seen enough.
Seeing that the person I'm talking to is going to intervene, how about I just offer to seeing as this is the plan anyway, I'll escort Katie out and get her out of her hair for her.
Do me a favor as you're playing, deputy decoy here. And give me either a charm or coercion.
Charmersion.
Yeah, and I'm totally going to use one of mine there. Burn them all quick.
Ready?
Yep.
Oh,
what the what?
I'm like, yeah, it had a much homier feel last time I was here. About 7 years ago.
As you try to placate her, and you don't know if it's because Brian and Sam are outsiders, not from town, or because their complexion is not pearly enough for her. You're not sure. She could be one of those folks that in real life you don't like. But she kind of throws the little platter down, and she basically is giving the finger for, your kind aren't welcome here. I'm going to call the sheriff and say that they have broken into the church. That door was locked. I know for a fact it's locked. But what would you like to spend those 5 advantage for? As Enoch totally tried to placate her, but she put her divine blinders on.
I'm gonna take my penny back. No, I have a shoot.
And you totally notice Brian seems a little out of it, and Sam's definitely guiding him out the door. Saying, "Gotta go."
I like that. This church is definitely not a come on in. Everybody's welcome.
Well, I'm going to say that I at least did a little bit to split her attention, so I'm going to give bonus die to Katie. Like the next person going, and one specifically to Katie, and
there's a lot of it.
Just because her attention is now split 3 ways.
Okay, so Katie's got a boost die, or are you giving Katie an upgrade for 3?
Yes.
Okay, Katie's got an upgrade for 3, and you still got 2 blue, two advantage if you want to give someone specifically a blue dice.
Also Katie, right?
Okay.
As he's like giving you the pleading look of please say something to fix this shit.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna basically, I guess with coercion, it's like, oh, sure, it's all come on in, give us money, our welcome, but you don't mean it. Oh, you obviously don't mean it. Oh, you just automatically want their money, but as soon as they don't give the money, oh, no, they're not the right kind. We got to kick them out. I'm going to have them arrested. What kind of church is this? Y'all make believe and make nice when you first come in, and then, nope, sorry, you're not our kind. We don't serve droids here. It's like, I'm like, I've a good mind to, like, get the sheriff down here my own self.
Okay.
Just guys are being horrible people. It's like, just because they're a little different from you, you think you're better than them? Oh, hell no. You so far beneath them. You need to be asking these people for their, you need to apologize.
Okay.
Basically.
Yep. So go ahead and give me a deception, coercion, or charm. Your choice.
Coercion.
And I've got your free upgrade in there and your blue dice. And apparently, did Enoch click another?
He did.
Okay,
Yes, he
you got
did.
2 upgrades.
You should be. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
You should be ashamed.
The dice should
Dice
be ashamed.
and the lady. You should be ashamed.
She's not even phased.
As she just has the resolve and resolution of the truly divine and unblemished, as she basically is pointing out that those 2 broke into the basement. Who knows what they could have stolen? And she is yelling at the top of her lungs for you thieves to leave the house of the Lord. And the people in the church are looking at you guys and they're just shaking their head like, oh, damn, testify. Now,
No problem.
I'll gladly leave. This is
who's
not a house of the Lord.
First?
This is the... Huh?
Who's walking out of the church first?
The 2 of us.
Okay, so you guys arm in arm are heading out?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm definitely leaving this place. This is not a house of the Lord. This is not. It's like you worship something, but it ain't the Lord. Oh, I think it's the mighty dollar.
It's that one.
Well, I don't want to give away the.
As Katie's going on and you guys step out the door and pretty much arm in arm helping each other out down the steps, you totally look towards the outskirts of town, the opposite direction of the bar. And you actually see, because it's kind of hard to miss the guy in his black flowing robes and the desert background and the dust, and the big glittery iron burnt chain, and the book under his arm of the priest is about, if he moves twice each turn, he is about 2 turns away from the doors here. And he is beelining like there is an important date he's missing in the church.
Okay, let's get.
It's odd that he's coming this way. It's such you have never seen him move through this town with such purpose and expedience.
I think we need to get Joe out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Or Brian, excuse me. Why do I keep wanting to call you Joe? God. I think we got to get Brian out. No, it's because my brother's name is Brian, and I just.
Sure, that's what Katie says. Okay, so are you guys?
I didn't want to be Injun Joe.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you didn't go with that trope.
Yeah, but I'm evil. We got to get Brian out of here, though. Enoch and I maybe can try and distract the evil preacher, and Sam can try and get him out of there.
Ooh.
Because you said that it's obvious that he's like not feeling well.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
And the preacher don't like me none anyway, so.
Ooh, so is Enoch staying or is Enoch going too?
Yeah, I guess Enoch will pick up the dish that the lady dropped on the floor and hand it to her as he steps out of the church.
Nice.
Okay. So Sam and Brian are taking off.
It's still morning, right?
It is.
Okay.
He should not have been back by now.
Mm-hmm.
But something summoned
Was that
him.
knife squealing?
Yeah.
He was only 6 full run turns away when I rolled the d20 to see how far away he was when he got a hot call on the telegraph from hell.
Get Brian out of here so that we can and I'll try and distract the
So
the
you
evil
guys
preacher.
are rushing past the ladies saying good day, ladies, and going at full tilt.
Yeah.
No. Good day.
I said good day.
Obviously, I'm assuming Brian is not taking additional strain to move and take an action, because that would be bad. And Enoch, you're staying behind for when he shows up?
I think so. Is Katie doing the same?
Yep.
Katie's kicked her boots into the ground. She seems to be good to go. She's gonna stay. Okay, so
I'm rolling up a hand rolling a cigarette and about to light it on the front of the church.
So he comes up and he's looking at the two of you, and he's looking at the entrance of the church, and he's looking at your two friends that are walking down the street, and he starts to come up and pretty much stops. Right.
I'm gonna say, top of the morning to ya.
And he just gives you this long look.
And I just stare right back, take the fresh cigarette that I just lit, took a long puff of it, then dropped it without blinking, without looking away from him, right there in front of the church, and then I step on it and squish it, kind of slow and purposeful.
And he totally gets distracted by that, watching your friends flee. And he looks at your cigarette. And as soon as you take your foot off it, he bends down. And as soon as he bends mostly down to apparently pick up your smooshed cigarette off the ground, you hear some of his chains actually clinking on the ground when he bends down low enough. And he picks up your cigarette butt. And when he does...
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
What did you just do?
He picks up the cigarette butt, but then his hand stops for a second. And he moves his hand a few feet away and puts his finger on the dirt, and you don't see what he's touching at first until he drags his finger across the dirt, and you see blood smear. Like there was a perfect drop of blood in the dust, but now it's been smeared about an inch long. And he holds his finger up, pinching with his middle finger and thumb your cigarette bits, and his index finger with the blackish blood smear across the print of his finger. And he looks at you down from his kneeling position, and then looks at your friends stumbling away, and proceeds to get up, and you hear him make this groaning sound, which is totally that threat, as he says, "I think you've had a very good morning indeed." And he kind of stares down the street at Brian and Sam, and he gives you this long down his nose look as he looks at you and looks back at them.
Well, you'd have to be pretty heartless not to enjoy a beautiful morning like this.
He doesn't know anything about that.
Oh, That's right. I don't.
Play in character.
Sorry!
Yeah, we're like,
Wow.
it's still totally in character for you to totally hate him
It totally
as
is.
though
I
he
do,
had
I-
no heart. But
And-
like, I'm completely confused.
As he turns over to Enoch and looks at him and says, I would expect even one of your station to associate with better people. And the way he says people is very, very tainted.
I'm like, all of a sudden,
Ooh,
on the ground.
As you know,
What you mean by that, preacher?
do me a favor. Give me a coercion for intimidation, because that sounds like what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, hey, I didn't scroll up fast enough.
No,
So much
no,
for
you
the
didn't.
quickest arcane pistol in the West.
Well, he knew that my pause, the
Uh-huh.
pause that I was doing was I was trying to get to that page, that part of the page.
It wasn't you going,
Fine.
make sure your loogie is extra funky.
Oh my God! Wait a minute, that's not right.
Actually, you're right. That isn't right. That's his roll plus your roll. Let's take away some of those yellows. Like 4 of them. Okay, go ahead and try that again. As you realize you spit, and he kind of slides his foot into the line of your spit, so your spittle lands on his foot.
Ew.
And he smirks very under his. He bows down to look at his foot and smirks at you and says, "You are out of your place." And he turns and looks across the street, and you realize there's a lot of town folk watching you do this. As you're being super disrespectful to the preacher man, an open public on the street with no context for anyone watching.
Like,
Enoch, is there anything you're going to do in this very socially tense, as people are just shaking their head and looking at Katie, and you're sensing her local social equity is just dropping like the NASDAQ.
Yeah, and I don't even think that anyone mentioned anything about the church being unhallowed out loud. So
No.
completely in the dark. I think that
The normie sitting here going, "What the fuck, guys?"
yeah, what happened? I think Enoch is going to do his best to try one more time to do a charm roll to just be like, obviously everyone's having a bad day and something weird's going on, and just to try and diffuse and end the situation so everyone can go home.
Now, the quick question, are you trying to charm the priest specifically,
No.
or just the crowd in general watching things happen?
I'm trying to make the scene look like instead of Katie being like contemptible and angry, as being sympathetic. So I'm painting the scene for her, for the people observing. Okay,
good to know, because it's a lot easier to do that to the general scene than to do it to the priest in specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got your difficulties. Oh, I do not have your difficulty set, because you're loading the deck, just like Enoch's bar.
Yep.
The house always wins. Go ahead when you're ready.
All right. There we go. That's good.
As Enoch immediately does the Enoch charm, as we all know from the token he's based on there, you just totally play it off that, misunderstanding, things will be things. And he's just looking at his finger now, standing fully erect. And Katie totally knows he just played you to do this in public. He wasn't able to figure out what's going on, but he at least made the best of a situation bad, not making the best of a bad situation, by basically getting a little more engendered with the community here, and Katie put in a bad light. And you totally are putting the schmooze on. I'm wondering, are you possibly giving him back the penny for the alms as part of your little show?
Oh yeah, that sounds fine.
You
I'll give him another
you
penny.
totally take his hand and give him a coin for the donation jar, playing off as charming as Enoch is, and you can totally pull Katie out of there if Katie is willing. Her teeth are grinding somewhere between that sound and the sound of a rattlesnake's rattle going off.
Yeah, well, presence is my dump stat.
And you chose poor weapons to come at him with.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let him diffuse the situation.
Okay. And pretty much, you totally beat the father into saying, and go with God as part of your exit strategy before he can say it. You say it and beat him to the punch because Enoch's that kind of guy. And you guys are kind of tensely walking back to the bar, catching up on your friends because, poor Brian is not moving too quickly.
Yeah.
As his fingers got little black, veiny infection marks crawling up his finger. And as you guys head back to the bar, I'm assuming?
Anyone got medicine?
Well, once I get to the bar, I got something to do.
As you guys head back to the bar, we get screen swipe as you guys are back at the bar, probably, in the back room, and you guys are exchanging information. Anything particular you're exchanging before we go to, that's a good place to wrap it up?
He's evil!
Well, I am...
Could told you that.
Yeah, I'm casting Fountain of Glannis, or the Chinese version of said spell.
And what does that do?
So, swirling and shining water flows from the caster's hands into the wounds of the target. If the spell is successful, the target heals 1 wound per uncancelled success and may heal 1 strain per advantage. Additionally, the caster may select 1 ongoing status effect the target is suffering. That effect ends. I'm assuming that's an effect since it wasn't a critical.
It is an effect. So what is the difficulty for said spell?
2 purple.
2 purple. And you beat
too late.
Okay, and what does this beautiful spell look like to your compatriots as you roll it? It's in the difficulty is in.
Yep. All right. So basically, he starts, hovering over his arm and hand, and kind of like, again, glowing lights, kind of whitish yellow, and boom!
She compels you.
No strain, but you get healed for 4 points.
And poor Sam takes strain because as you're doing your chi magic, the actual cursed poison fights back for a second, and then you have to double down, and there's your tendons and veins are bulging as you're pushing it, and you see the little dark tendrils shrink to the tip where the needle stabbed him, and the evil poison comes out, and it almost writhes like a worm for a second when it hits the table until you totally push your hand towards it, and your chi actually becomes physical to it, and it gets this little shrieky sound as you expel the poison completely.
Whew.
And Brian feels better.
Yeah, 4 hit points back and no poison. Yay!
And you guys totally see Enoch there was in the middle of pouring himself a drink, and he saw all of that, which he normally never sees, that magic shit. And he's just overfilling his cup for about 3 seconds before he blinks and realizes it. It's real.
And as I slump back into a chair, I reach into my robes and show the heart.
You toss it on the table, on the desk.
No. I mean, it's somebody's heart. I show it a little respect, but no, I in the palm of my hands, just kind of holding said heart.
And he holds the heart there, and you all kind of look at it, and poor Enoch,
Okay,
I'm
can
assuming...
I make the knowledge roll on if it's his heart or somebody else's, or has that been established?
Well, we don't know whose heart it is. That would require more than just knowledge. You'd actually, that would be like a ritual or something to figure that out.
Okay.
You can't just look at a heart and say, the DNA says.
Yeah.
No. I wasn't saying the DNA. I was saying the ritual behind it would be different if it's your own versus somebody else's.
Yeah. The assumption that I believe that it may be his heart.
But yeah, we also don't know what it was for. It could be like maybe there's a good person out there and they're waiting to use this heart as a sacrifice to gain its power. Yeah.
Or it could just be you can't get a good bistro sandwich this far out west. You know, after St. there's no good sandwich meat shops.
Right.
But yeah, you wouldn't be able to just with the knowledge figure out whose heart it's from. I mean, you could try to seduce.
Are you telling me it's not kosher?
It's definitely not kosher.
Sorry, I wasn't necessarily going for whose heart. If it was somebody else's, I was thinking that the ritual for your own heart would be different than the ritual for somebody else's.
It would be, but you can't unless you do something magical. Just knowledge-wise, you can't really tell the difference right now.
Okay.
It was done a long, long time ago. Whoever did it for whatever reason, it's definitely a very old heart.
But yeah.
So it'd be perfect for kindling right now.
Yeah, bad things down there.
Oh yeah, this thing would go up in flames in a second. I mean, it's like a 200-year-old desiccated heart that's been kept in a nice dry place.
Nice.
And as you show that, and everybody kind of gives that group, as you went into a church basement and came back with a desiccated heart, that's a good place to wrap it up there.
All right.
Excellent.
Huh.
And then fill them in on everything else, obviously.
So you guys do the proverbial data dump.
Except for the whole, reverse trap thing.
Oh, you keep that part secret?
I'll leave that out.
And then, you kind of show poor Brian shows his boot where there's that little bit of blood coming out the bottom of your boot. And you all look in the bar and clearly see the drops every foot or two of poor Brian's finger, bleeding out.
I don't think we're hiding our presence and identity, so...
Yeah, that's true.
And
oh, shit.
What?
What's wrong?
Do I need to do a ritual to make sure that my blood disappears so he doesn't use it?
I think he already has it.
And your spit.
No, he has my spit.
No, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, in your haste to leave, you kind of realize that there's droplets of blood all through that church. There's that bloody nail. There's the droplets that you've been leaving behind of your corrupted blood. Someone's going to have a sleepless night.
Y'all are sloppy.
As that is a good place to wrap it up there. Oh, and Brian, do you tell them about the whole future hellmouth and the entrance of the church?
Oh, yeah.
You share your horrible visions in there?
And those hellhounds again.
And the hellhounds bask at the end. It's almost as if someone's coming soon for that ritual. I'm
sorry. I do want to point out that Enoch did find out that the bake sale is on Friday. So just to make sure that I contributed, there we go.
Enoch knows beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so how many XP?
So it is going to be 10 XP. I mean, you did learn something, so.
Yeah.
Totally have jumped the gun to the big bad instead of the smaller mystery, but you totally have learned something.
Yeah, well, because we're good like that.
It's always
Yeah,
good when a
apparently.
couple good rolls pop up and drop something way before it's supposed to.
Those damn meddling kids.
Alrighty, good night, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Good night.
All right.
Alright, have a good
Good
night,
job,
guys.
all.